12 signs a woman thinks you're good looking, a scientific perspective. Have you ever wondered if a woman thinks you're good looking but couldn't tell for sure? Maybe she smiled, maybe she looked twice, maybe she laughed at something that wasn't that funny. Was she just being polite, or was that attraction? The truth is, women don't always say it directly. In fact, when a woman finds a man physically attractive, it's usually revealed through subtle, often subconscious behaviors, clues rooted in evolutionary psychology, neuroscience, and nonverbal communication. And the best part? These signs aren't just speculation or vague dating advice. They're grounded in real science. So if you're tired of guessing and want to understand the clear yet silent signs of attraction, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving deep into the 12 scientifically backed signs that a woman thinks you're good looking. We're going beyond pickup lines and outdated myths and straight into human behavior, brain chemistry, and body language. So sit back, relax, and let's decode the psychology of physical attraction, one signal at a time. Let's start with one of the most primal, powerful signs of attraction, eye contact. According to studies published in the journal Archives of Sexual Behavior, when a woman finds a man physically attractive, she's significantly more likely to maintain longer and more frequent eye contact. It's not just about locking eyes. It's about how long that gaze lasts, how often it happens, and how it makes both of you feel. Researchers have discovered that when we look at someone we're drawn to, our brain releases a cocktail of chemicals: dopamine, oxytocin, and even adrenaline. This makes us feel good, excited, and connected. The result? We want to keep looking. So if she holds your gaze a little longer than normal or keeps glancing your way across the room, it's likely not just polite social behavior. It's biology at work. And even more interesting, sometimes that extended eye contact is followed by a smile. A small, involuntary curve of the lips as the brain processes pleasure and visual stimulation. Now, keep in mind, eye contact can also vary by culture and personality. Some women are shy, introverted, or just naturally avoid eye contact, so it's important to consider this sign in context. But if she's making a conscious effort to look at you, not once, but repeatedly, it's a strong primal indicator that she likes what she sees. Next up, subconscious grooming, also known as preening. You walk into a room and suddenly she adjusts her hair, or smooths out her dress, or subtly checks her reflection in her phone. Coincidence? Probably not. According to evolutionary psychologists, grooming behaviors are automatic actions that both men and women use to enhance their appearance in front of someone they find attractive. These behaviors include touching or flipping her hair, reapplying lip gloss, straightening her posture, adjusting jewelry, checking her reflection. When a woman finds a man good-looking, she may feel a sudden urge to look her best. This doesn't always happen consciously. Her body is essentially saying, let's enhance our display. It's the human equivalent of a peacock fluffing its feathers. And the reason it's important is because it's not necessarily for everyone. If you notice she's doing this specifically when you're nearby or looking her way, it's a strong behavioral cue that she wants to impress you. In fact, one study published in Social Behavior and Personality found that women engaged in more grooming behaviors in the presence of attractive men, especially when they were trying to send romantic signals. So, if you see her smoothing her outfit or adjusting her earrings the moment you step into view, she might just be signaling that she likes what she sees in you. Let's talk about one of the most subtle yet powerful signals of visual attraction: the double take. You've probably seen it in movies. A character walks past someone attractive and then looks again. Maybe she tilts her head, her eyes widen slightly, or she smiles after the second glance. But guess what? That's not just cinematic flair. It's rooted in real psychology. The double take happens when someone sees something or someone that stands out from their surroundings. It's the brain's way of saying, hold on, rewind that. I need to see that again. According to visual cognition research, our brains are constantly filtering out visual information. But when we encounter someone who fits our personal criteria for physical beauty, our perception pauses. It lingers. And sometimes it even does a loop. So if a woman looks at you, then looks away, but glances back within seconds, it's a signal that her brain is revisiting the image it liked. It's like an internal, whoa, that guy's attractive moment. And it often happens before she's even consciously aware of it. Watch closely. The double take is quick, but powerful. It's unplanned, and more often than not, it's a subtle green light from her subconscious. Mirroring is one of the most fascinating signs of attraction. Why? Because it happens below the level of awareness, and it reveals connection. When a woman thinks you're good looking, she might subconsciously mirror your body language. This means if you lean forward, she leans forward. If you laugh, she laughs. If you rest your hand on the table, hers might find a similar spot a few seconds later. This phenomenon is known in psychology as the chameleon effect. Studies show that people are more likely to mimic the gestures, speech patterns, and postures of those they find physically appealing or emotionally engaging. Why does this happen? It's a bonding mechanism. Mirroring creates a feeling of harmony and rapport. Our brains interpret it as a signal of trust and connection. Interestingly, research from New York University found that people who were mirrored during conversation rated their conversation partners as more likable and attractive, even if they didn't consciously notice the mirroring happening. So if you notice that she's starting to reflect your posture, gestures, or even your energy, it's not just flattery. It's a deep, instinctive response to your presence. Her body is syncing with yours, and that's a beautiful sign of visual and emotional attraction. Physical proximity says a lot about how someone feels around you. When a woman thinks you're good looking, she may unconsciously move closer to you, stand or sit within your personal space, or even initiate light touch. This is rooted in a field of psychology called proxemics, the study of personal space. According to Dr. Edward T. Hall's model, people reserve their intimate and personal zones for those they're emotionally connected to or attracted to. If she leans in while talking, stands closer than social norms require, or doesn't step back when you come near, it's a clue her comfort and interest levels are high. Now here's the golden signal, breaking the touch barrier. A gentle touch on your arm, shoulder, or even a playful nudge when she laughs. These aren't random. They're social cues that say, I'm comfortable with you, and often, I'm into you. Science backs this up. Research in psychological science found that women who are physically attracted to someone are more likely to engage in affiliative touch, a subtle, friendly kind of touch that builds connection. So, if she's not just in your space but finds excuses to touch you lightly during conversation, she's likely drawn to your physical appearance. Now, this one's all about emotional chemistry. When you give her a compliment and she blushes, lights up, or suddenly gets nervous, it often reflects her feelings toward you. You see, when a woman thinks a guy is good looking, his approval matters more. That means compliments carry greater emotional weight. So if you say something like, "You look great today," and she reacts with a sudden burst of energy, laughter, or a noticeable shift in body language, pay attention. That's a neurochemical cocktail, dopamine, serotonin, and adrenaline, lighting up in response to attention from someone she finds attractive. In contrast, if a woman isn't particularly drawn to someone, compliments are often met with neutral smiles or polite nods. No emotional spikes, no visible shift. So remember, when your words hit a little deeper, spark a genuine smile, or make her flustered, it's often because your looks amplify the emotional impact of what you say. Memory is influenced by emotional salience. That is how emotionally relevant something is to a person. And guess what? When a woman finds you good looking, your words stick. You might casually mention your favorite band, a small tattoo on your wrist, or a story about your dog. And days or weeks later, she brings it up again. That's not just good memory. That's selective attention. Her brain prioritized those details because they came from someone she's visually and emotionally invested in. Studies in cognitive neuroscience show that we're more likely to remember faces and voices of people we're attracted to. We also retain more information about them, even things others might miss. So if she recalls things you didn't expect her to remember, your birthday, your coffee order, or even something you said in passing, don't underestimate that. Her mind is holding on to those bits because to her, you stand out. And often that starts with a physical spark. Laughter is one of the most powerful social tools. And when a woman laughs often and freely around you, especially at things that aren't particularly hilarious, it's usually a sign she's enjoying your presence, and often your appearance too. Why appearance? Well, according to research published in the journal Evolution and Human Behavior, women tend to laugh more frequently and enthusiastically around men they find attractive, especially when there's a mix of humor and visual chemistry. In fact, laughter serves as a bonding signal. It releases oxytocin, the connection hormone, and creates a sense of comfort and ease. If she giggles at your jokes, playfully teases you, or bursts into laughter in your presence, there's a good chance she's responding to the full package, you included. And here's a subtle hint. If she laughs and glances at you afterward, that's an unconscious way of checking. Did you see me laugh? Did you like that? So, if her laughter feels a little more personal, a little more connected, or happens even when you're not trying that hard to be funny, take that as a sign. She's enjoying more than just your jokes. Let's keep it real. Some women are bold, and when a woman finds you good looking, sometimes she'll just say it. Maybe it's a direct compliment, like, you look really good in that shirt, or you have a great smile. Or maybe it's more subtle. You have such nice eyes. Or there's something about your vibe. Either way, science says that spontaneous compliments, especially about appearance, are rarely accidental. Research in interpersonal communication reveals that women are more likely to compliment men they are romantically interested in, and physical compliments are a direct form of flirtation. Now, it's important to pay attention to how these compliments are delivered. A flat-toned nice shoes is different from a smiling, slightly blushing, wow, you clean up nice. Tone, expression, and timing all matter. So if she's giving you visual compliments, especially ones tied to your face, physique, or style, it's a pretty clear signal that she not only notices your looks, she appreciates them. Attraction doesn't always look smooth and confident. Sometimes it shows up as nervous energy, especially when someone is trying to manage emotions and excitement at the same time. So if a woman seems a little jumpy, flustered, or unusually fidgety around you, it might not be because she's uncomfortable. It might be because you make her heart race. According to social psychologist Dr. Monica Moore, women often exhibit signs of nervous attraction when they're near someone they find good-looking, especially if they're trying not to mess it up. Signs include playing with jewelry, adjusting clothing unnecessarily, biting lips or touching the face, stumbling over words. These are all subconscious ways the body expresses inner tension, and that tension often comes from trying to impress someone whose presence is exciting, like you. So don't misread nervousness as disinterest. Sometimes it's a mirror of your visual impact. Here's something fascinating. When women find someone attractive, they may unconsciously change the tone or pitch of their voice. A study published in the Journal of Nonverbal Behavior found that women tend to soften or raise their voices when speaking to men they find physically appealing. The change is usually subtle, but noticeable. This vocal modulation is part of an evolutionary mechanism that signals femininity, approachability, and flirtation. So, if her voice becomes warmer, breathier, or more melodic when she talks to you, especially compared to how she talks to others, it's likely not an accident. And if she's laughing more, using playful tones, or stretching out her words slightly, those are vocal flirtation cues too. Your looks may have sparked that shift, and her voice is responding with interest. Last but not least, pay attention to the social ripple effect. When a woman thinks you're good looking, she may talk about you to her friends. And those friends might not be great at keeping it a secret. If you catch them looking your way, whispering when you pass, or even teasing her when you show up, it means you've made an impression. And if her friends already know your name, your Instagram, or little facts about you that you haven't personally shared, it's because you've been discussed. This is more than just casual conversation. When a woman finds a man physically attractive, her brain processes him as a potential mate, someone worth mentioning, analyzing, or even daydreaming about. This instinct is deeply rooted in social validation. Women often process attraction and interest through dialogue with friends. And if you're on their radar, you're likely on hers, in a pretty significant way. So there you have it, 12 powerful, science-backed signs that a woman thinks you're good looking. From the way she looks at you, to the way she laughs, talks, touches, and even talks about you when you're not around. Her behavior holds more clues than you might have ever realized. Attraction isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a whisper from her eyes, a flicker of her voice, a flutter in her nerves. But when you learn to read these subtle signs, you're no longer guessing. You're understanding. And remember, being found good-looking isn't just about sharp jawlines or six-pack abs. It's about presence, confidence, style, and how you make someone feel when you're around. So be observant, be kind, be real. Because when a woman is drawn to you, it shows. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this breakdown of science and attraction, be sure to subscribe, like, or follow for more insights into human behavior, dating psychology, and self-growth. Until next time, stay curious, stay confident, and pay attention to the little things. They often mean the most.